Alrighty, welcome everybody to the second live stream we've ever done on the formulajonah YouTube channel. This is said to be an extraordinary stream here, and there's a lot to discuss. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be absolutely incredible. So much to discuss on this one. In this particular live stream, we're going to be doing WEC predictions, specifically on the Manufacturers Championship for the Hypercar class. So we're going to be going over standings predictions on that. And also we're going to talk about live stream plans for 2024. Got some huge announcements to talk about. But yeah, this is going to be absolutely incredible. I can't say it enough. But as you can tell, I'm not alone. I'm not alone in this stream today. I'd like to introduce David. You can see him to the right of your screen. He is going to be joining me throughout the live streams coming up. And me and David have been discussing our ideas for this coming streams that we have planned, and we're super excited to share those with all of you guys. We're gonna do that today. We're gonna share them all today. But before I do that, before we talk about our live stream plans, David, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience who are joining us so far?
Yeah, thank you, Jonah. So my name's David. I'm from Denmark. I just actually hit Jonah up on Instagram and told him that I'm a huge endurance racing fan. And we figured why not have two people doing these live streams and discussing our hobby for every one of you guys. So thanks for having me. Honestly, I'm so excited to do this. But yeah.
Yeah,
that's me.
Well, I'm super excited to have you on here, David. It's going to be awesome to have you on throughout the next couple of streams we have planned. Like I said, big plans ahead. But so far, thank you so much to everybody who's joined so far. We have Fabregas, who's already sent in $5 to the super chat. Thank you so much. Really appreciate your support. This is amazing. Already got a ton of people joining into the live stream here. We're targeting for about an hour or so, but again, welcome David to the live stream. So we can we can get started with this. I guess we'll begin with the announcements themselves. I think that's a good place to start off, and then we'll head into our hypercar predictions. And by the way, if I didn't already mention it, we won't be doing our standings predictions in terms of all the drivers. We're just doing the manufacturers championship predictions for hypercar. And yeah, that's what we're going to be doing as we head into the first session as well. Qatar Prologue is coming up this weekend. It's going to be absolutely incredible. We're already here. Winter break is over. We're starting things up. We'll get into the Qatar later on, the Qatar race and all that. But David, what have we got planned for us? Do you want to announce it? I mean, we got some exciting ideas.
Yeah, we got huge plans. I mean, we're gonna do some race reviews. For the first, I mean, we're gonna talk about the prologue in detail, and we're gonna go into the Qatar weekend, our thoughts, and after the race, what happened and what is gonna be happening for the rest of the season. Right? I mean, we're just gonna be discussing and going deep into what happened through the races of this year, and obviously there's going to be a lot more content around Le Mans than for any other point of the season. But we'll start slow here with the prologue. It's going to be exciting, and of course we're going to start today with the predictions, which I hope you're going to like because there's some interesting thoughts I can tell. I mean, for myself, there's some surprises maybe, but let's see.
Yeah, there's definitely some surprises with the predictions coming up, and of course this is just our personal opinions here. Not going to say that this is going to be happening or whatever, so we'll see how that goes in just a moment here. But yeah, we got some exciting plans, as David mentioned. One of the big ones is race reviews. We're going to be live streaming our race reviews for every WEC event this season. That's huge for this channel. And I think the primary thing, and this is something that me and David have kind of discussed for the last, what was it, about a month or two of we've been planning this. We've been planning this for quite some time. the race reviews are something that I think is going to be huge for the channel, and I think these live stream plans are really great because the thing is that the content of the videos that are coming out for all of you are great. They are absolutely amazing, and there's no change in that happening. We aren't going to be changing the structure of normal content on videos that are coming out. But I thought when David pitched me this idea and we kind of discussed it, it might be good to maybe branch into more for 2024. And that was kind of the thought going into this. It's like 2024, brand new year for this channel, brand new year just in general. And I thought like it would be good to branch into more content. And this is where these live streams kind of come up. So the live streams are going to kind of run simultaneously to the actual content itself on the formulajonah YouTube channel. And we're going to try and expand on these live streams. We're going to be doing them, like I said, and like David said, for every race review. We're going to be doing race reviews for the WEC championship. And we're going to be doing those on Wednesdays. That's the plan. Like today. I mean, we started around this time, 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for the US. That's the plan for the future streams as well. We're going to be planning on streaming on Wednesdays about this time. We're going to be doing live streams for the next 2 weeks after this. We're going to be going over a prologue report, as David was mentioning. That's going to be really fun. And then, of course, we're going to do the Qatar race review. And by the way, if you guys are familiar with the content that's already been displayed on the channel so far, in terms of the race reviews, because there's also race reviews that I've been doing for the last couple of I guess the last 2 years or so. Those aren't going to stop. I'm going to try and continue those. However, if these live streams turn out to be super great and these turn out to be a big success, and I think they will, judging by how much hype there is around it and how much excitement.
Yeah,
I think
it's gonna
that
be amazing.
it is going to be absolutely amazing. I think that this could potentially turn into something. This live stream could potentially become the main race review part, and maybe this contributes to the actual videos as well. But yeah, more on that later.
Yeah, because so far right now it's just an extra for like we have the pinnacle of sports car racing right now with the hypercars and the GTPs. So of course we need extra content, and this is just a great way to do that and to talk to you guys even more, because this is like a community and it's lovely to hear your points as well as our points. So just spreading out the word of this great racing series that we all love is the goal. And we can do this by live streaming, but the videos aren't gonna stop. I mean, I've not talked Jonah into stopping doing his videos. They're still gonna come. So don't you worry about that.
Yeah, it's definitely the videos are definitely gonna continue, and it's gonna be awesome. But yeah, like you mentioned, this new era coming up with the GTP hypercar. I mean, it's been around, like I'd say, for the last couple of years. I mean, hypercar it kind of debuted in 2021 with the hypercar WEC championship. But the thing is that it didn't really take off until last year, 2023, when GTP was introduced in IMSA, LMDH was introduced in the WEC, and we also got more cars such as the 499P Ferrari. And 2024 is going to be even better. I keep saying that over and over on the videos, but it's true. I mean, we have 4 new manufacturers joining hypercar. That is huge. A total of 9 on the grid. I think I mentioned this in my Le Mans entry list video that I put out yesterday, and if you guys did not check that one out, definitely go do so, as there's a lot of talking points in that. This is the first time that we've seen this amount of cars at Le Mans since 1999. And 1999 was one of the greatest races in terms of manufacturers. I mean, you had the likes of Audi, BMW, Toyota, Mercedes, and so on, competing for overall victory with one of the greatest regulations, and an underrated regulation in the form of GT1. Or I like to call them the prototypes, because they're GT1 cars, but there was only like 1 or 2 made from the likes of Toyota and Porsche.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is definitely a great era and definitely something that we need to cover more, as David was mentioning. The live streams are a perfect way of doing that, and hopefully this can branch into getting more support and all that sort of thing. And speaking of support, I'm just reading the comments. If you see me glancing over to the right-hand side of my screen here, that's because there's so many comments coming in. There's so many comments. I think we already have over 50 viewers right now live, which is great. That should continue going up as we progress with this live stream, as we just started it. So yeah, love to see your guys' support. Absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for coming in here. And we will get to questions and answers and all that sort of thing a little bit later on. We're going to save that towards the end of the video. You're welcome to continue to ask questions. If there's an opportunity, we'll answer them midway through. But we'll primarily be answering those questions and talking about those comments at the end of this video.
Yeah. I saw somebody ask about Le Mans also. We'll get to it. It's also huge for us. We're also loving the fact that it's out right now. But let's start off with the predictions, and we can get to the questions afterwards.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. This is gonna be awesome. So predictions, we're gonna come put that on our screen now. So like I said before, hypercar predictions for the manufacturers championship. So not the championship where it's like the number 51 Ferraris battling for the number 8 Toyota. This is manufacturers standings. And by the way, me and David were discussing this actually beforehand. There is a separate championship that the Hertz Team Jota Proton competition and Customer A, of course, of Ferrari are involved in. That is the team's championship. It's kind of interesting, I guess the word is. It's different from the manufacturer standings. So manufacturers include like Ferrari, Peugeot, Toyota, all that sort of thing. So they're separate. But anyway, I guess I'll start out with my predictions coming out. So first off, and by the way, this is no disrespect to any team. We love every single one of these teams on the grid, and we want to see them do well. And me and David definitely have thought a lot about these predictions, and we're thinking just realistically heading into the season what this is going to look like. So with that said, I'm going to go for Isotta Fraschini in P9 in the manufacturer standings, otherwise last. No offense to Isotta Fraschini. I love the brand, one of my favorite manufacturers on the grid. This brand is by far so cool. I mean, like, all the people involved in this project, it's just amazing to see them out on the grid. I've been supporting it from the beginning, and it's great. However, we have to remember this is their first ever season in prototype endurance racing. This is a small brand. They're not like the Toyota or Porsche or Ferrari, for example. This brand is just heading into this prototype endurance racing, and while they have raced before, it was a long time ago. I mean, that was a long time ago. They raced at the Indianapolis 500 back in the 20s, I believe, or early, or actually late 1910s. But yeah, this brand...
It's a really old team, yeah.
Very old, yeah.
Really old team. And that's going to affect them, I think so. Like they're coming up against Porsche, Ferrari, Toyota, teams that are huge in motorsports and have huge resumes of wins and stuff, and Isotta is just the smallest team in the batch. So, like, of course, like, no disrespect, but they are the underdog right now. But it's gonna be exciting to see how they get on.
Indeed. And do you want to reveal, I guess, your prediction as well? I guess it's
yeah.
Why not?
The funny thing is, I have put them in ninth place as well. I see them coming as a kind of Glickenhaus team. Unfortunately, like Glickenhaus, of course, amazing car, amazing looking car, but never really found the speed. And I hope not, but I could see the same thing happening for Isotta. Like being this small team that is gonna need the help of BOP to get up there. But like I've mentioned, me and Jonah have talked about this before. Like BOP can only get you so far. Like if your car is still slow, it doesn't matter how much you nerf the other cars. like we saw with Wenwall as well last year. They also had consistency problems and reliability and stuff, and I see is sort of having some of the same problems for the first year at least. Let's see, but it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and a quick facts about Isotta Fraschini. They also the difference between because when we think of these smaller manufacturers, we think of the likes of Glickenhaus, Vanwall, and Isotta Fraschini, of course. But the difference between these three is that Isotta's Tipo 6 LMH Competizioni, it has a hybrid. It has a hybrid, and out of Glickenhaus, Vanwall, and this Italian manufacturer, I think that they actually have the most support in terms of like, you got the likes of Michelotto on board of the project as well. I mean, there's this brand. I think that they can do much better than Glickenhaus and Vanwall, but I think that compared to the other manufacturers in their first year, it's not going to be the same. And this is kind of what David was saying as well. And I mean, both of us were kind of just claiming that while Isotta Fraschini is cool, this is kind of the first year, smaller manufacturer and all that sort of thing. And quick, one more thing on Isotta Fraschini that maybe not a lot of people know about is that out of all the Italian manufacturers on the hypercar grid, you might be interested to know that Isotta Fraschini is the oldest out of all three brands. They're older than Lamborghini. They're older than Ferrari. As a brand, as a manufacturer. Isotta Fraschini was founded by the Fraschini brothers and Cesare Isotta in 1900. So that's a long, long time ago. I mean, that's 124 years ago, which is insane to think about. And Ferrari and Lamborghini were formed after.
Yeah, I also saw a comment right there, like, imagine they have been existing for over 120 years. But we have only first heard about them now, and that's quite funny. But like that's racing, and that's what motorsports does. Is like these small manufacturers that we haven't heard about for a long, long time jump up and become huge teams. So I'm excited. Maybe they're going to be faster than Ferrari, but let's look into the future about that. And like right now, we can only talk out from what we know. And from what we know, Ferrari is a bit stronger.
It's an understatement. Yeah. Ferrari's definitely got the pace to compete for victories, in WEC, and you'll see by our predictions how competitive they could potentially be in 2024. We'll see. And by the way, speaking of Ferrari, and like I mentioned before, that customer Ferrari does not contribute to the manufacturer's points. That's a team's points thing. So that's not contributing. It's just the 50 and 51 that are contributing to their manufacturer standings. So with that, I think I'm kind of reading through the comments and kind of seeing like where everybody thinks Isotta Fraschini are going to be in this championship. And by the way, if I didn't make this clear, and if you guys didn't see our previous the previous stream I did last year, feel free to comment down below your thoughts as well. I mean, these are our predictions, but would love to hear your guys' predictions in the comments as well. So like, for instance, when we're talking about Isotta Fraschini in P9, comment down below who you think will be P9 in the Constructors' Championship for the WEC this season in the hypercar category. But anyway, I think that we can move on from Isotta Fraschini and we can go on to P8.
On to number 8.
Yes. So, in P8, I guess I'll start out with this. I have gone for Lamborghini. P8 in the championship. Now, this is the first of the big manufacturers. Yeah, and I guess this is a good point for David to mention his prediction as well.
Yeah,
something similar.
The funny thing is, we agree a lot apparently, because I put Lamborghini in 8th place as well. So this is almost gonna be like the same list, but maybe different thoughts behind it. What do you think, Jonah? Why did you put them in 8th place?
So Lamborghini, this is a brand that is very prestigious. I mean, they're another Italian manufacturer. They are big in terms of size. I mean, they're also competing in IMSA. The reason why I've put them in 8th is because of a couple reasons, actually. One of which is that they only have one car. Lamborghini only has one car. Another thing is that it's brand new to the championship. And you could say that Cadillac also has one car, which is true. They only have one car this season. However, Cadillac already has experience from not just WEC, but IMSA as well.
Yeah.
And even before that, Cadillac raced in DPI. So they have experience with that, especially Chip Ganassi Racing with their DPI competition in IMSA. But Lamborghini is brand new to this as well. They are like Isotta Fraschini. They're actually in the same boat as Isotta Fraschini. Technically, Lamborghinis never participate in hybrid prototype endurance racing. Hybrid prototype endurance racing. They've competed in endurance racing before, but that was with GT cars. I mean, they've competed with Iron Lynx. And this Iron Lynx team is also running the Lamborghini SC63s, by the way. But Lambo, I think that they're going to be competitive. But remember, they are brand new to this.
Yeah, it's going to be a fast team. Like Iron Lynx is incredibly professional and incredibly good team, but it's a new car, it's a new experience, and like the drivers, Romain Grosjean is not a slow driver in any means, but it's a new car, it's a new championship for Lambo. It's going to be incredibly difficult, and only with the one car that's gonna affect them heavily. And if we see like some of the other manufacturers, we saw with Porsche last year, like Porsche also heard under the fact that it was a new car. They had been gone from the championship for a few years, and even though Penske is an incredible good team and Porsche is really good as well, like let's talk about the resume for instance, but Lambo is, I think in a year or two they're going to be up there, but right now it's going to be an 8th place for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything you said there, David. Definitely think that Lambo is going to be competitive, but will they just be that competitive? That's the question. And I'm reading through the comments as well. A lot of people are saying they agree with Lamborghini and P8. Somebody is also saying Alpine P8, Lamborghini P7, like that prediction as well. That could potentially happen. But yeah, again, feel free to send in your guys' comments down in the comments section of who you think is going to finish in P8 in the championship. But yeah, me and David so far have predicted the same championship standings. But I have a feeling, and by the way, David hasn't seen my predictions. I have a feeling.
No.
I have a feeling that it won't be exactly the same. I mean, there's no way, right, that we can get the exact same predictions.
Yeah, but let's see now. Like your P7, I'm really interested now because I think my shot is a bit different. But I don't know.
I would say, because I have the screen up of here of both of our predictions, that while they are completely different, let's just say that they're from the same area.
Oh.
So, yeah. So I guess in that case, we'll move on to our P7 in the championship standings. I have gone, and this is a little bit bold prediction. I was really like kind of thinking like, do I want to put them in P7? But considering past performances and considering that, I don't know. I'll just get on with it. P7, Peugeot. I've put Peugeot in 7th place in the championship.
It must be crazy, man.
The reason, actually, I'll go into it later. I guess, David, why don't you release your P7?
I put Alpine in there at P7.
So different predictions, very different predictions. I've gone for Peugeot. A couple reasons why. The 9X8 Hypercar, I think, is going to be competitive. I mean, what we've seen at Monza and Le Mans, they were super competitive. However, they are adding on a completely new package. And while this package is expected to increase the performance of the 9X8 Hypercar, make it more competitive, and I think it most definitely will, I think that it won't be as competitive as we initially thought. Here's why I think that. Qatar, Peugeot is heading into a race where they're using the same spec. So we expect the 9X8 Hypercar to probably not be as competitive. 6 hours of Imola, brand new race, probably a testing race for Peugeot. So that I would write off those first 2 events. Then we head to Spa. Hopefully Peugeot will be more competitive, but from what we've heard from the last event they participated there, Peugeot wasn't super competitive in the conditions at Spa in terms of the layout of the track. I think Le Mans, they'll be competitive. and throughout the season, I think they'll get a little bit more competitive. But it's those first couple of races that's going to hurt them, and that's why I've put them P7 because Cadillac shows up at Le Mans with 3 cars. I mean, they could potentially fight them, and I think they're going to be around there. And this is hard for me because it's like Peugeot, I really want to see them do well. I mean, they are one of the coolest manufacturers to ever join. I mean, their car is by far one of the coolest cars.
Like if we did a livery like ratings, that is up there. Like
Yeah,
it's a Batmobile, man. It looks crazy.
I think the
But
reason why. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I agree with you. Like, but I think with Peugeot you have to be careful because like what we have seen for the last few years is a car that had a completely different concept to any other cars in the championship, and now they've like almost like Mercedes and F1 like said, okay, that this doesn't work. We'll need to go in the direction that the other teams have done
Right.
as well. So like we can only talk from our experience from the old Peugeot, but what is the new going to be like? Is it going to come out flying and just be extremely fast, or is it going to have that period of being really difficult to drive, like we saw with the car when it first dropped into the WEC? So it's going to be like a dark horse maybe for the championship. At least I think so. But yeah, maybe I should get on to Alpine because Alpine is a different. Like it's a bit of the same as Lambo. The reason why Lambo is lower than Alpine is because Alpine put in 2 cars. Alpine has the experience from prototype racing and hypercar. If we remind ourselves of the grandfather LMP1 car they drove against Toyota and Glickenhaus in the first years of the hypercar class. So it's going to be a competitive team, but I see Alpine having, as Lambo and as we saw the team last year, to like get through this first year with as many laps on track as possible, and being as competitive as they possibly can be. But I don't see them winning actually any races this year. I see them fighting in the midfield of the hypercar class, but not anymore than that.
Alrighty. Well, good predictions from both me and David. A little bit bold on my side, I have to say. I know
Yeah.
Peugeot P7. I think that I hope that my prediction kind of kind of doesn't happen, to be honest, because I want to see them do well. But we'll definitely see what happens. And Alpine and P7 for you, David. Interesting. I think that's very different from where I've put them, and that's it's like, ooh, okay, we'll see how that
Exciting.
exciting, indeed. But yeah, so we've had Peugeot P7. That's my prediction, and David's prediction is P7 for Alpine. And they're A424 that debuts at Qatar this year. In the comment section, we're seeing a few people saying P7 for Peugeot, P6 for Peugeot, Alpine P6. A lot of people are kind of going back and forth on a similar prediction, which is good to see. So yeah, but and again, great to see so many people involved in this live stream. We have 93 live viewers right now, almost 100. I'm sure we can get to that. So send this stream out to your friends, your family, all that sort of thing. And see if we can get more viewers, It's great to see the turnout so far, especially on a Wednesday. This is a work day, a school day for some. And so it's great to see this many people involved as well. Yeah, and we got Raphael asking in the comments, is this the manufacturer's predictions? Yes, it is. It is the manufacturer's predictions for Hypercar. Yeah, so anyway, I guess we should move on to P6 in our championship predictions. So I guess I will go first once again. I have put, and this might be similar to David, but we'll see. I've put Cadillac in P6 for the championship.
Yes.
And David, what's your prediction?
I've done the same thing. A bit of a bold choice, I think, for both of us, in some way. But I don't know if you're on the same page as me. But like, if you put one car into a championship, I don't believe you're gonna do very well. But it's a fast car. We saw it at Daytona. We saw it last year as well. extremely fast car. But can they hold up against the other teams that, like a team like Toyota is gonna be crazy fast again this year, but maybe not as fast as always. But I don't know what you're gonna say, Jonah, about Cadillac, because it's a difficult one. It's one of those teams that could finish sixth or they can finish third. In my mind. Of course, they didn't win Daytona, but they were by far the fastest car over that week. So, yeah, what do you think?
Well, I think I agree with you because Cadillac is they only have one car this year, and I think the only way they can be like super fighting for like third or second or whatever is if they have an insanely good result at Le Mans with their two other entries, the Chip Ganassi #3 car and the 311 Cadillac that's just been revealed for Le Mans. Again, if you guys haven't checked out the entry list for Le Mans that I posted, go ahead and check that video when you have a chance. Definitely good to know. But yeah, Cadillac, we have to remember as well, alongside them having only one car, while they were insanely competitive at IMSA, super competitive. I mean, they were fighting for overall victory. Arguably, they had the fastest car at Daytona. Porsche was very quick in the night. We have to remember, IMSA has a different BOP than WEC. Cadillac is running under a totally different BOP than what the WEC is going to look like. Another thing is that IMSA, you have tracks that Cadillac has been on before. You have tracks that are totally different to the WEC layout. For example, Daytona, the Daytona International Speedway is a completely different track to the Spa-Francorchamps circuit, for example. So, and on top of that, Chip Ganassi Racing is an American team. They've barely raced in European-styled events. I think that they're primarily over in IMSA, over in IndyCar, and IMSA, and then in the WEC, they came to like tracks like Monza and Fuji and Portugal, for example, or Portimao, with basically no experience because that car had never really been to a race there. And I mean, as you can see at Monza, Penske was in a similar position because Penske hadn't really been at Monza before. Now that they have a year under their belt, I think they're going to be a lot more competitive. However, there's more manufacturers in the championship now. We have the likes of BMW, Alpine, Lamborghini joining the fight. There's other brands that are going to be a little bit more competitive. Hopefully Peugeot. So I think that, and again, I hope my prediction goes the opposite direction. But yeah, Cadillac and P6, I think that's, to me, I was kind of like, I didn't want to go too extreme. I didn't want to go too negative or whatever, because I gotta say, that V-Series R, I'm just going to point it out here, I went to Laguna Seca last year for the IMSA event, and I watched the practice sessions for IMSA, and Laguna Seca is kind of there's a big area in between Laguna Seca, the track itself, and I went to the very edge of the circuit, and I was watching all the cars pass, and it was really fun, it was really loud. That Cadillac, that V-Series R was so loud that I could hear it over the mountain. That's how loud it was. And I've been to Laguna Seca multiple times. The only car I've heard at that track that was louder than the Cadillac that I could hear over the mountain was the 2004 Formula One Ferrari car. That was the only car that I could hear over the mountain. That Cadillac was so loud that I could, and I was stunned that I was able to hear it that loud. So while I love that Cadillac, I think P6 is a realistic option for me.
Yeah, and I think so too, Jonah, because me saying P6 is not saying that Cadillac is not going to win it. I actually see them having a really good chance of winning Le Mans this year with the three cars. But I see over the whole season, there's a lot of teams like Porsche, like Ferrari, like Toyota, that is going to be faster and more consistent on all of the tracks. But definitely Cadillac is a dark horse for winning races this year in WEC as well.
Fully agree with what you said there, David. I think that Cadillac definitely has a shot at Le Mans. I mean, look what they achieved last year, third place. I mean, they weren't as competitive as compared to Ferrari and Toyota, but their car seems to suit the Circuit de la Sarthe. We will see how Cadillac does. We've predicted them P6, both of us have. I see a lot of people in the comments saying Alpine P6. Let's see who else. But yeah, Oh, and by the way, there was a few people in the comments section that were kind of like stunned to see that Cadillac only has one car on the grid for the WEC. One of the reasons why Cadillac only has one car is they actually had a second car last year, but that car got completely destroyed and they scrapped the parts for others. And I think Cadillac is their focus is IMSA. That's another thing. Their focus is IMSA and Le Mans. Those are the two things that they're focused on. The rest of the WEC is not really something that they're totally interested in. Reason why, and this is just my personal opinion, and from what I've researched, Cadillac isn't super apparent in other countries besides like America, North America, like America, USA, Canada, Mexico, all that. I think Cadillac is apparent in other countries, but they aren't super involved. And Le Mans is different because that's like their reputation is Le Mans. Every manufacturer wants to win Le Mans, regardless of your presence in the country of France or whatever. But Cadillac, I think that their focus is IMSA. They made that clear, and Le Mans for the sake of winning Le Mans.
Definitely, it's. I think we will see some of the same things happening for a team like Acura / Honda. If they decided to join WEC, I don't think they would join with a two-car team. I think it would be like what we see with Cadillac right now, that they would go all in for Le Mans, but the rest of the championship is just the one car. We see them focusing on IMSA and doing really great over there. That's so amazing that we right now can see teams fighting for overall victory that are in two completely different kind of championships and doing completely different things and joining up for the main race of the year at Le Mans. That's amazing. But let's get on to P5.
Yes.
We could talk about this forever.
Yeah, that's true. We'll get on to P5 and the rest of the championship now. So I have gone for BMW in P5 in the championship. M Hybrid V8s from WRT. I'm placing them in 5th position overall. And David, what's your prediction for P5?
Yeah, because you mentioned them before per show. I think they will do very good this year. I think they will be very competitive this year. I'm on the positive side of this. I think the new concept is going to work for them. I think they're going to be extremely fast, like we saw at Le Mans last year. They actually were leading for a good part of the race and being really fast and competitive. I see them doing that for more races this year. With the new one, they have extremely good drivers as well. I mean, of course, I'm biased. I see Mikkel Jensen driving there, and I'm being like, yeah, come on, for sure. But I feel like they're going to be flying this year, but still having those problems. Still new concept. Yeah, but it's gonna be interesting. Like BMW, as you said, I'm interested to hear what you think. Why put them up there when we saw them doing so badly at Daytona for their first year in IMSA?
Well, I think that WRT is they have a very solid operation there. I think that they are a very experienced team across all forms of racing. While WRT is completely new to prototype racing. They have experience from RLL, probably sending data through BMW to WRT. WRT has also been testing the BMW hypercars, and I have a feeling that those M Hybrid V8s are going to go very well across the WEC season. However, I think that P5 is probably a realistic option for me, just considering all possibilities. And I just want to quickly point this out as well, that BMW and the top five, we're getting into the close championship, I feel like. And because I think 2024 is going to be super competitive. And I think like P5 and P4, for example, I think we're going to be seeing like a couple points separating the two manufacturers. Like I'm talking like 10, 20 points separating like BMW and whoever I've put in fourth. And that goes the same for other manufacturers. And that's the thing. I think that all these brands are going to be super close in terms of the championship. And it's going to be really hard to tell like who is going to place where, who's going to be on top, who's going to not be on top, because of how exciting this 2024 season is set to be with Hypercar. So BMW, I think that they could maybe be even a little higher than P5, to be honest. I feel like they could be pretty competitive. But I think that there's one manufacturer right above them that might be able to just get ahead. And this might be a little bit more of a bold prediction when I reveal fourth. But David, I'd like to hear your thoughts now on Peugeot. Why do you think Peugeot is going to be finishing in P5 in the championship with their 9X8 hypercar and all their upgrades? And by the way, really hope that does happen because Peugeot is a very amazing brand.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're coming into their third season with the car. They have found some of the problems and they're changing on some of the problems. And I think Peugeot is a team that always will be competitive in some way. Like we saw it in their fight against Audi, they had an extremely fast car, but they still have reliability problems. And I think the 9X8 is an extremely fast car. It's an extremely good-looking car, fast drivers, great team. And I think they just it was a completely different concept. So I think like 3 years into it, we're going to see some of that potential getting fulfilled. And that's why I put it in P5. But I could easily see them, unfortunately, also drop really low with the new concept. But I hope they will be up there. Honestly, like P5, P4, or even higher. Like I see them being really competitive this year. So yeah, like and I maybe like you put BMW there. I see WRT is definitely a great team. I mean, they were going to run the Audi program, and we know Audi to be one of the greatest teams ever in endurance racing. So they don't choose like small, unprofessional teams. And BMW in IMSA, they have been extremely competitive as well, if we don't look at their first race at Daytona. So I see both these teams we put in P5 as dark horses. Like I see them winning races. I don't see for the first time in a long while, don't see Toyota just winning every single race besides Le Mans this year. I see this year being really interesting. So yeah, I think this is the year where one would have to follow WEC every single race for every single hour because it's going to be changing all the time. Also with the introducing, like POP is really, like I think they nailed it at Le Mans last year. Because we had a different manufacturer in the lead, like almost all the time. It wasn't set in stone that it was Toyota or Ferrari that was going to win. Like Porsche were leading, then Peugeot, then Toyota, then Ferrari. Like it was different all the time. So I see the whole season being like that this year.
I totally agree with your points, and I hope that Peugeot can be competitive in 2024. I really, really hope that. Someone asked in the comment section as well. They asked when Peugeot, when they going to reveal the new 9X8. The 9X8 hypercar, the updated version of it is scheduled to be there for the 6 hours of Imola. And I would expect them to reveal the car shortly before, probably a few weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks before. I don't remember. I think the Imola event is after 12 hours of Sebring and IMSA, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look at the calendar again. So I would expect Peugeot, I would expect Peugeot and their 9X8 hypercar to be revealed probably around, I would say, after the 12 hours of Sebring, early April, late March, somewhere around there. So I just wanted to point that out there in case anybody was wondering and to answer that comment. But anyway, I guess we should move on to P4 and the championship here. And again, this is just our predictions. Doesn't mean this is going to happen. It's just our idea of it. So anyway, I guess I'll go first. This is a bold prediction, probably my boldest prediction, I guess, out of the entire list. So I've put Alpine in P4 in the championship for hypercar. I think that Alpine is going to have a very, very strong season, but I'll get onto that a little bit later on if we have the opportunity. David, what's your prediction?
Yeah, I put BMW P4, and my top 4 could honestly change around all the time, like from race to race. I see BMW being very competitive, but Alpine P4, like that's a bold prediction, I must say, Jonah.
It is indeed. Yeah, I think that Alpine's going to have a very strong car, and they already have experience from their hypercar participation. And yes, that was an LMP1 grandfathered car. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, I think that Alpine could be a dark horse this season, and I think this is a manufacturer that a lot of people don't really like think about could be like super competitive. And I think that they could actually have a very strong package for a couple of races. I could see them being very competitive. I mean, you have drivers such as Nico Lapierre, Mick Schumacher also on board on that project, Charles Malesi. I mean, there's a lot of drivers that are pretty skilled, pretty talented. I would say mainly Nicolas Lapierre, wonderful driver, very competitive. And there's a few more a part of that project. I think Alpine is bringing in a very strong package. They have two cars, very committed team, very committed manufacturer. They have Sigmatech on board once again. A lot of partners involved in that project, and I think that the A424 could be a dark horse that season. And I know that this could be a little bit of a bold prediction for me, but I'm gonna go for it, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be really close between Alpine and BMW for fourth place. And I think Cadillac and Peugeot won't be far behind either. So I think those four manufacturers in my list are going to be really, really, really close in terms of the championship.
I mean, when you mentioned Mick Schumacher, I couldn't. It was hard for me not to laugh because Mick Schumacher doesn't have the reputation of driving a car for that long before crashing. Like, of course, the name is a huge pressure, and he is fast, but I'm excited to see him driving for a team in endurance racing and having that pressure on you, like to do competitive stints every time. Like I see that as being somewhat a learning curve for him. Like, not that he's a Mazepin or anything. He can drive fast and have the car on the road, but yeah, I see that being difficult for him. Like, obviously Toto Wolff sees something in him, otherwise he wouldn't be kept in Mercedes and stuff like that. But Alpine is it's a chance for him to prove that he's fast and reliable. But I'm pessimistic about it, I must be honest. To be honest, I see BMW being the fourth fastest car, and I see them being the fourth fastest team as well. Like, a great team, great car, historically great team and great manufacturer, but like they have only won Le Mans once, I think, in like generally, and there's somewhat of a underdog between the bigger teams. Like we mentioned, sort of before, being the underdog in the whole championship. I see BMW being the underdog in the top flight, because they have the reliability problems. They are a great team, fast car, can be the fastest car in some races, but I feel like they would have too many races where they wouldn't finish with two cars in the race, and that would cost them really, really, really much in the championship overall.
Yeah, I have to agree with that, to be honest. It's going to be interesting, with P4 and the Constructors' Championship. BMW, I think that they it's going to be kind of like an unknown, like where could BMW finish in this championship? I'm kind of seeing them P4, P5, kind of like what you were predicting, what I'm predicting, kind of thing. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. And we also have a comment coming in from Timo, who asks, Alpine and Renault are the same company, correct? Yeah, Alpine is a part of Renault. Yeah.
Yeah, it's their luxury brand. Like we see Toyota having Lexus. Lexus, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a luxury, sporty brand kind of thing, like Lexus, like you mentioned. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Alpine and Renault did win the championship, or did win the Le Mans 24-hour in 1978, I believe. But yeah, we'll see. So Alpine P4, BMW P4. Could see that happen. Going to be interesting to see who ends up on top. Maybe it's neither of these manufacturers. Maybe it's Isoto or Lamborghini.
That would be crazy, but yeah. Let's see.
Alrighty. So we now move on to the top three, and I think this is where a lot of people are kind of like wondering who is going to be finishing in third, second, and first, because, I mean, we can already tell we've gone through all the manufacturers except three. There's three brands left that we haven't discussed yet. The question now is, where do me and David put these three brands in the Hypercar Championship? Are they going to, who's going to be finishing first, who's going to be finishing second, and who's going to be finishing third? So I guess I'll start out with P3, and this is another bold prediction, I have to say, and different from David, I would say, but I'm calling for Ferrari in third. Ferrari P3 in the championship. Maybe a little bit of a different prediction, but this is gonna be interesting. So I've put P3 Ferrari, and there are 2499Ps. But I'll explain why, and I'll explain what I mean by that, because it's not like Ferrari are not going to be competitive.
Yeah. And I mean, you made a bold prediction there. I think mine is even bolder. Like, I put Toyota number 3, and that's, man, like it's like the big empire in terms of WEC right now and hypercar. But I agree with you. It's not Toyota not being competitive. I think there's some other teams that are just gonna put the pressure on a little bit, if I may say. But yeah, I'm interested to hear Ferrari P3. Why, Jonah?
I think that it's going to be close between the top three. Like, I'm talking really close. Like, it's going to be super, super close between Porsche, Toyota, Ferrari, all those brands. Those are the three that are going there. Ferrari, I feel like it's going to be another incredibly strong season for Ferrari. And I think that they're going to go really well. But I think Toyota are going to be just a little bit more competitive in terms of the overall championship. And Porsche, I feel like they're going to also be really competitive. I think that it's going to be like, Ferrari and Porsche, I think they're going to be almost equal. And I think Toyota is almost going to be equal with these three manufacturers. I think that's going to be super, super equal. And I think somebody has to finish third eventually. Like, I think when we saw the F1 championship, I'm not going to bring in F1 too much into this. Mercedes and Ferrari finished just points between each other, and they were so close. And arguably, you could say that Ferrari had the fastest car over Mercedes in 2023 of F1, and they still finished third. So does that necessarily say that they're faster than another manufacturer? Or does that say not? I don't know. But I think P3 for Ferrari, and I think that it's going to be like barely between. It could go either way. That's my point.
Yeah, and I agree with you there, because like now I put Toyota number 3, but I could easily see them winning the whole thing again. I hope not, because like I see Toyota being this team that when pressure comes, we've seen it before, and of course Le Mans is the greatest example of this, but over the whole seasons as well. When they are getting pressured at an endurance racing, they fail. Like we saw it last year at Le Mans, Ferrari were the fastest car. They had to push the Toyota even more, and all of a sudden problems hit them. And I see this thing continuing. Now we see Ferrari and Porsche being probably even more competitive than last year. So I could see Toyota fall. I'm a bit surprised that you put Ferrari third, because I think actually we'll get on to my predictions later on, but Ferrari is like, it's the opposite of what they do in Formula One. It's the best team on the grid right now in WEC in my mind.
They have a very strong package. Of course, a Ferrari is like beyond anything. I mean, I was super surprised by Ferrari's performance and their consistency. And looking back at this prediction, I'm kind of thinking like I may have put them a little too low. This doesn't mean that Ferrari is not going to have the fastest car. Or this means that Ferrari could actually have the fastest car, but they be unlucky in like a crash or a reliability issue or something like that. But so far, Ferrari's been very consistent. I mean, I think I did a video a while ago that displayed Ferrari. I think it was my Ferrari to GTP video. I explained that Ferrari has finished on the podium in every single WEC race the entire season except one, which was Fuji, where Porsche was a little bit more faster than Ferrari and finished third with the number 6 car. So I think Ferrari is going to have an insanely quick car for the 499P. And I just want to make this clear as well. Each of these manufacturers just have 2 cars. Every single car has, except Lamborghini, Cadillac, and he sold the Freschini. Yep.
Yeah.
All those 3 manufacturers just have 1 car. Every other manufacturer has 2 cars. But yeah, I don't know. I think that Ferrari has just 2 cars. And you could say they have 3, but no, that's a customer car. That's in the team's. Exactly. Yeah. That's in the team's championship. Porsche just has 2 cars. That's the Penske cars. Hertz Team Jota and Proton competition, they do not count. They are in the team's championship. Porsche will have 3 at Le Mans with the Penske cars, and we're talking about factory entries. Those are the manufacturers' championship. So Porsche just has 2 cars across the season. They'll have 3 at Le Mans. Ferrari just has 2 cars across the season and a customer entry that counts in a different championship. But yeah, it's, again, predictions. This is just our personal opinion. I got to say that a couple times because a lot of people are saying, like, why Ferrari in third? Why Toyota in third? You know, like, I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with our opinions here. But again, just our personal opinions. I'm slowly starting to regret mine on Ferrari just because I would love to see them do well, and I think they will be a little bit more competitive than I maybe have put them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and of course, this is also an early prediction. We haven't seen these cars run out on track yet. Like, of course, we saw them last year, but it's been a whole year. They have had time to develop the car. Toyota has come with a new package as well. Peugeot will come with a new package. Porsche will come with a new package. Like, there's a lot of new variables in this that we don't know anything about. So this is only out from what we know from last year, and what we think. It's nothing. It ain't like we haven't seen the cars run. So of course this is going to be crazy in some way. But let's get on to number 2 before the chat blows up.
Yes, let's get on to number 2. So I've put Porsche in second position in the Hypercar Championship. I think that Porsche is going to have a very strong season, but they won't be they won't be insane, you know? I think last video I did, and I'm a Porsche guy, you know, I love Porsche as a brand, but let's be realistic here. It's an LMDH car. The LMH cars seemingly are a little bit more competitive. That's judging by last season. LMDH could be a little bit more competitive, and I think they will actually. But Porsche's 963 is very competitive, and I think it will be very competitive, but I think that they're just going to be topped by another manufacturer. But David, why don't you go ahead and release your prediction, which I have a feeling might be a little similar to mine.
Yeah, because finally we agree again. I put Porsche number 2 as well. But honestly, my number 1 and number 2 could switch depending on the race. Like, I see Porsche being like we have seen it before, Porsche being extremely competitive the second season with the new car. Like we saw with the 919 LMP1 car, having a tough time for the first year. Still being fast, but still like having a tough time. And then coming out the second year, being absolutely dominating the field. And I could see something similar happening with the 963. We saw the Daytona, like an extremely fast car, extremely fast team. So I could see them really, really doing well in WEC as well.
It's going to be close, you know, I think between these 3 manufacturers in the front. I think it could go either way. Honestly, for me, I think it could be Ferrari or Porsche. For P2 in the championship, it could go really anyway. Again, this is something that we don't really know right now. We will find out eventually as we go on. But yeah, Porsche 963 looking very competitive as we head into the season. However, we don't know exactly what they're going to face as we head into the rest. But again, new upgrades for the Porsche 963, looking very different. I mean, remember when Porsche was in Le Mans in 2014? I mean, they were very quick, but they encountered some issues. They weren't like on the same level as Audi. I mean, they were competitive, but Audi got them. They were ahead of Audi. I mean, Audi was ahead. And Toyota was pretty competitive as well. Le Mans, for example, Porsche was in a position to win, but then reliability issues. The 2015 race at Le Mans, totally opposite. Porsche was absolutely had the fastest car. Yeah, I don't know. Porsche is very it's very competitive. I think that they're going to be competitive as they did in from 2014 to 2015 with the 919 in the LMP1 days. I think that they could have a very similar transition through this. And by the way, as well, I think IMSA Porsche. There's a chance that IMSA could win the champion. There's a chance that Porsche could win the IMSA championship. I have a feeling that Porsche will be very competitive in IMSA, but not as like domination in the WEC. I think there's some more manufacturers. And while we kind of know who are going to be P1, why don't we just reveal the two that are in P1, our predictions. I've gone for, hold on a second, let me just remove, there we go. I've gone for Toyota in P1 in this championship. I don't think that there's going to be any change, unfortunately. I love Toyota Gazoo Racing. I really do. I think this team definitely deserves this. I would love to see somebody else take the fight to them, and I think they will. But I think Toyota will ultimately get P1 in this race. And David, why don't I go ahead and reveal yours as well?
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to be P1?
Ferrari P1. I think, like as mentioned before, it could be either Porsche or Ferrari winning this championship. But I don't see Toyota being the same like dominating team as last year. I saw a comment here like, yeah, Toyota won the championship last year. They won every single race besides Le Mans. But that was also the first year for many of the new teams coming into hypercar. Now those teams have had a second year. And even last year, Ferrari was competitive. Porsche was competitive. And I see them being even more competitive this year. So, and you mentioned as well the LMDH cars being a bit slower last year. I could see that coming into effect again between Ferrari and Porsche. Like Ferrari having an LMH car could be an advantage for them in the championship. But honestly, like from 1 to 3 and maybe even BMW at 4, every one of them could win. But yeah. it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I think it is going to be crazy. It's going to be super close between all these manufacturers for the Hypercar Championship. Honestly, I feel like I'm in a kind of a similar boat as you, David. Toyota were very competitive last season. I mean, heck, they won every race except Le Mans. They were super dominant. However, that was the first year for those new manufacturers. We're heading into the second year for those new manufacturers, or now not new, but second year for manufacturers such as Ferrari and Porsche and Hypercar. However, I still think that while the Ferrari and Porsche, for example, are going to be very close, they're going to be much closer to Toyota. I still think Toyota will just barely get them in the championship. And I mean, Toyota's got experience. The Toyota Gazoo Racing with their GR010, they have experience. They've run that car for the last 3 seasons. They've been dominating with it in the Hypercar Championship. And before then, they are the only manufacturer to have stayed in WEC since its inaugural season as a reborn championship. That is quite the stat to have for a team with such experience and just straight up like domination capabilities with their cars. The TS050 was a very quick car. Maybe it wasn't as quick as the 919 at certain events, but the GR010 was able to win, and maybe that wasn't against a lot of competition. I mean, they barely had anybody to compete with against, like for instance, Glickenhaus in the first 2 seasons of Hypercar. Yeah. But this year, I think, or 2023, proved that Toyota can be beat by Ferrari. And yes, BOP did affect the Toyota GR010s at Le Mans. They ran into some issues with the 7 car having a collision and the 8 car spinning out with Ryo Harakawa at the wheel at the Arnage corner. Yeah, I think Ferrari P1 is a realistic. I think that's possible, David. I think that your prediction is sound, and I think that's definitely realistic.
I mean, I think either Porsche, Ferrari, or Toyota could be realistic options for P1. Like I see every one of those teams winning the championship this year. Of course, it would be like this. I would almost say the safe option, as you put it, Jonah, like to put Toyota with number one because of the experience, because of what we have seen before, like them being dominating. But like I obviously hope, but I'll also see like this year being something out of the extraordinary with these cars. And like what we saw Toyota coming into 2014 and 13, like having a strong car, fighting Audi, who was absolutely amazing in that time period, and actually beating them on multiple occasions. I see something like the time when Porsche, Ferrari, and Porsche, Toyota, and Audi were fighting for the victory. I see something as close as that again this year, just with Ferrari instead of Audi.
Well, that's a good prediction. I definitely think that's possible. Ferrari P1, Toyota P1 for me. I've played it safe, as David mentioned. It's true. I have played it safe. I just think that's I think it's possible for Toyota to win again. But I like the Ferrari win. I like that Ferrari championship victory. I could see that happening. It really could be anybody, honestly, guys. It really could be anybody. It could be Toyota. It could be Ferrari. It could be Porsche. It could be anybody else. You know, that's how close.
It could be Isota.
It could be Isota. I mean, there was a comment that came in from Albert who said Isota P1. I mean, hey, that could potentially happen, you know? That's how close this Hypercar Championship is. And I think that well, experience is going to matter, like Toyota, like Ferrari, like Porsche. These manufacturers have a lot of resources. They have a lot of experience, especially Toyota with their experience with the GR010 so far. I still think that, like David said, there's potential possibility for something extraordinary to happen, like a Ferrari championship, like a Porsche championship. Hey, maybe even Cadillac wins Le Mans. You know, who knows? But yeah. This is the predictions we've done for the 9 manufacturers in Hypercar. David, are you satisfied with your predictions?
I mean, yeah, definitely something could change, but so far I'm satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with my predictions as well. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I don't have to agree because I'm a little bit not really sure Ferrari should be P3 in the championship. Like I said though, it could go either way. I could probably put Ferrari in second or third. It could go either Ferrari or Porsche, but otherwise that I'm pretty satisfied. So anyway, that completes our predictions for the WEC Manufacturers Championship of Hypercar, not LMGT3. If we were to do LMGT3, that would be another whole hour because we would go discussing about this for a while. But now it's going to be an absolutely amazing season. We've covered our live streaming plans. We've covered the WEC Hypercar predictions. Now, this is about the time when we start closing down our stream here. But feel free to send in some questions down in the comments section. We'll try and read those as much as possible. But yeah, again, really, really excited for this new era of the FJ channel here on YouTube. David, I'm super excited to have you on board for this project that we have going. Remember, viewers, race reviews for every WEC event. If we get really comfortable with this, we could potentially branch into IMSA race reviews as well. And hey, if it gets really, really successful, this may even overtake the normal video race reviews. It's what I really want to acknowledge is you guys, is all of you in the chat. All of you folks, I really want to acknowledge all of you and say thank you and basically see what you guys want to see. You know, do you want to see these live streams of the race reviews as well as the videos of the race reviews, or do you want to just see the live streams? We'll definitely be doing these live streams. Maybe I'll start out with some videos for the race reviews. Maybe it transforms into these live streams kind of get put into videos. We'll see how that all works, but yeah, we'll see what happens with all this. But it's definitely going to be exciting. I can't wait for this new era we have with the live stream schedule and what we have planned, David, for this upcoming era of the channel with live streams.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and I mean, I've been buzzing about this day coming, and you know, Jonah, that we've talked about this for a long time, and now like seeing like at some point we were around 120 people watching live. It's amazing. The support you're showing is great. Also for me, like I'm totally new to this, so seeing you supporting this is amazing. So I'm just very thankful for being here, and I'm excited to get on with the rest of the season. Now the winter break is over, so we can finally get racing again, and that's going to be exciting. But please comment any questions you have for me or for Jonah, or for the future. Like I'm ready to answer any questions you got. So yeah, please keep them coming.
Yeah, there's already some comments coming in. Somebody asked, do you have any plans to cover GT, World Challenge, Europe, Asia, America? Yeah, I think that would be something cool. David, do you think that we could potentially do something like that in the future?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like right now we're getting comfortable with WC and then branching maybe into IMSA later as well, doing live streams for IMSA. But we'll start by the WC and maybe IMSA. But definitely, like I'm only starting to getting into GG World Challenge and stuff. So, but it's great racing. Like the first 12 hours has just passed and was a great race. Um, but yeah, as you guys probably would have seen, like Jonah already uploaded a video about it and did some content. So it definitely is something that we're talking about. But right now we're just gonna start with WC. Yeah.
Yeah, as David put it, that's exactly what we're planning on doing, is starting out with WEC in terms of these live streams, and maybe branching into IMSA. In terms of the regular videos that comes out, as David mentioned, I already put out a video of the Bathurst 12-hour race preview. That was something I really wanted to cover. I was thinking, like, if I was going to branch out to something, it's got to start with the Bathurst 12-hour, because that's an amazing race. And I was planning on doing a race recap of how and apologies for spoilers ahead for the winners of Bathurst, how Porsche Manthey Racing took victory overall. I think that I would definitely like to cover something like that. However, I think that there's a lot of content coming out, and to be honest, I got other stuff I'm doing as well, such as school and work and all that sort of thing. But yeah, I think that I'm going to plan to cover more content in the future with normal videos. David and I will potentially do some more stuff as well with these live streams. But yeah, for now, focusing on WEC and IMSA. Last month was all about IMSA. This month is all about WEC. April, I'm gonna maybe do a little bit of content on ELMS, European Le Mans Series, for those wondering what that meant. I'm planning to potentially branch into that, and the ALMS Championship is, I think, over now, Asian Le Mans Series. But when it starts up again for the 2024-2025 championship, I may cover some stuff like that. Definitely going to be doing some content on the Nürburgring 24-hour. That's going to be something cool to cover. And last year I did the 24 hours of Spa race preview. Plan to do that again, and maybe doing some more content on that, like a race review or race recap or something like that. We can go into that later. But anyway, we have some more comments. Timo said, I can see you doing something like Matt and Tommy who cover F1. Yeah, this is kind of the idea we were thinking, me and David, of like doing a Matt and Tommy style P1 podcast kind of thing, of where we kind of cover stuff and then put videos on the channel as well. That could potentially happen in the future. We'll definitely see how that works out.
That was the inspiration, honestly. So having that mentioned is nice. Yeah, that's cool.
Indeed. Yeah, that's David's mentioned. Yeah, it's definitely the inspiration for what we had here. Definitely agree. So we'll see how that goes. That should be cool. Hopefully we branch into something like that. Max asks, what do you think is the best hypercar livery? For me, black Toyota is just perfect. David, I guess, do you want to start with this one? What's your favorite hypercar livery on the grid this year?
Oh my, that's a difficult one. I mean, I'm old school. I've been an Audi fan since I was very young. So seeing that red and white car of Porsche is always nice. But I gotta say that Toyota, even though I'm not the biggest Toyota fan, that car is beautiful. It really, really is. But for me, it's gonna come down to like Porsche, Toyota, or Peugeot, and I gotta stick to my guts, and that's Porsche.
Yeah, Porsche's definitely got a great livery for their Penske entries, the factory cars, of course. There's a lot of great liveries out there. I mean, every team has showed up with something pretty cool. I think if they keep this for this year, the Peugeot 9X8 livery is by far the coolest thing for me. I just thought the colors just it's perfect. It's so cool. You know, I love a lot of colors on cars, and it's great to see how flowing it looks. Like, I think there's been other liveries in the past that aren't like super flowing, like they're just a bunch of colors out on screen, which just kind of looks messy to me sometimes. I won't name any few because I don't want to upset any manufacturers or teams or anything like that. I will say though that my favorite livery, in terms of like the color styling, was the Rebellion R13 that raced in 2019, the splatter paint livery, as some others call it. That was super cool. I really like that. So this Peugeot, even though it totally looks different than that, kind of reminds me of the same color schemes kind of thing.
And for me, Toyota reminds me a bit of the old R18 from 2006. That Star Wars almost spaceship car.
Yes.
It's having some of the same look, and that's lovely to see because that was a beautiful car. I mean, I think that's my favorite car of all time. In LMP1, that Audi was amazing.
It truly was, and I definitely respect that opinion because it's quite the awesome livery. And there's some other cool liveries out on the grid in hypercar as well, such as I really like that Lamborghini livery, the green. I think that's a cool livery. Even the simple Cadillac, the Cadillac liveries, the blue or the yellow, like the fade into black. I think that's really cool. I think that's a neat design there that Cadillac's got. There's some more. We can go into like the Proton Porsche or that third Ferrari that's all yellow. Bold, by the way, from AF Corsa to completely do a full yellow car. I mean, I think even the WEC posted that the fans were wondering if there was a yellow Ferrari, and it's actually happened. You know, it's like they fulfilled the dreams of many of ours by doing actually a full yellow Ferrari, which we haven't seen in quite some time. I remember. Do you remember the last yellow Ferrari? I don't remember.
I mean, I think it was Car Guy racing in GTM when we had but from there was often a yellow car there. I remember because Jan Magnussen was driving that car. But a full yellow Ferrari cars. Of course, the Ferraris we have also just gotten the manufacturers team, like the 50 and the 51 cars liveries, and there's a bit more yellow on those as well, looking really good. But yeah, I think it was Car Guy back in the old days of GTEM.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool liveries that Ferrari has done, but seeing a yellow Ferrari is totally different. So quite cool that Ferrari, there will be a yellow Ferrari along with the other two normal red with yellow stripe 499Ps on the grid. But anyway, any more questions, throw them in the comments section below. I know I've probably missed a few. We were talking about some other questions and all that sort of thing. But again, feel free to send in your comments down below of what you want to say to us. But yeah, again, we're going to be stopping the stream in just a few minutes here. But we're going to be streaming again next week for the Qatar prologue. David, what's your thoughts on this Qatar prologue? We're back after the last time we raced the last time we were kind of with WEC action was that testing, that rookie test after the Bahrain 8-hour event. So what's your thoughts about the prologue in Qatar? First time that WEC is heading to the Lusail International Circuit as well.
And it's an interesting track. I mean, it reminds me a bit of Bahrain. So I feel like we're going to see some of the same things that we saw testing at Bahrain, and the young drivers test. But I feel like we're gonna get a picture of where the most interesting thing for me is the new cars in hypercar and GT3 as well, like the Ford Mustang and Lambo and all those cars. It's gonna be interesting to see where they would match up against the, the more experienced manufacturers. But of course, it's still testing. It's the prologue. So, but I'm just excited to see those cars out on track, racing for the first time.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And by the way, viewers, we've been talking a lot about Hypercar today, but we cannot forget about LMGT3. This is a huge new era for GT racing in the WEC, as well as 9 manufacturers in Hypercar. There's 9 in GT3 as well, or the LMGT3 category. Two cars, so put up 4 for a moment. 2 cars for both manufacturers, or for all manufacturers in the LMGT3 class. There's brands such as McLaren and Lexus making their debut in the WEC, which is awesome to see as well. But before we lose some of these questions, Dammy asked in the comment section, do you see any additional entries for Spa like last year with the Caddy or Cadillac? I would say no. I'm going to say no because the Motor Course de Monterey at Laguna Seca is happening on the exact same week. Cadillac usually sends over entries from IMSA and drivers as well, such as Sebastian Bourdais or Ranga van der Zande, but they're going to be at the IMSA event at Laguna Seca, which I plan to go as well. Yeah, I don't think there will be any at the Spa, any additional entries for Cadillac like last year. What do you think, David?
No, I must agree with you. But I think like if we would see anything, it would be I can't remember if Lambo had 2 cars for Le Mans. I don't think they did. They do. Then I would maybe see Lambo do it. Honestly, because I think they would prioritize Le Mans instead of. But no, I feel like Spa is interesting because it's right up next to Le Mans. It's where normally we would see the cars run their Le Mans spec for the race. So it's a very good indicator of where the cars are coming up to Le Mans. But obviously that's something that's been thrown out the window with no longer the spec for Le Mans being there. But yeah, I mean, I don't see it because there's so many races going on now with these cars that thing of having cars being additional to a race like Spa is not possible anymore.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and it's interesting to see that there probably won't be a Cadillac on there, considering we got that last year. And this is the problem because there is that jumbled calendar. You know, there's more races on IMSA. And by the way, all the Le Mans entries, viewers, are all the extra Le Mans entries for Hypercar are mainly from the IMSA grid. So you have the 2 Cadillacs, which are from IMSA. You have the 3rd Porsche Penske, I believe, is actually another entry. I think it just has some of the IMSA team on board, such as Matthew Jamet. He's joining in as a driver for the number 4 entry, and some of the IMSA crew in terms of mechanics and engineers and all that sort of thing. And then Lamborghini's entry is also an IMSA car, and so on as well.
Yeah.
We have another question coming in, I believe from Alexis, who asks, your thoughts about the 1,085 kgs of the IFM, Isotta Fraschini Milano. So asking about the Isotta Fraschini BOP. David, what's your thoughts on that? Because Isotta Fraschini were hit kind of difficult with the BOP guitar.
I feel like BOP is always difficult when we haven't seen the cars racing. So it's always going to be a topic to discuss up until the first race, and we've seen it before, like back in the days with the 4GT racing, where they sandbagged a lot up until Le Mans. I believe that POP is something we could always discuss. We could always have conflicts and discussions about it, but at the end of the day, it has created better racing in these series, for me at least. And Isotta is gonna be hit hard on the first race here, but I think BOP is gonna get better as the championship evolves. Like there's a lot of new cars coming in this year, and of course the BOP is not going to be perfect for those cars for the first few races, but like we saw them on, like they can, when they nail it, it's going to be amazing. But of course there's going to be mistakes for the first few races.
Yeah, fully agree with you. I think that we're gonna see like those new entries. Probably there's gonna be unknown BOP with them. I mean, this is kind of the first race, and like you mentioned, I mean, it's kind of like these are all new cars. So what's gonna happen with the BOP? Like, is it gonna be perfect? Is it not? You know, all that sort of thing. I think at Imola or Spa, we'll probably get a better idea of like what the BOP is gonna look like. Qatar might be a little iffy in terms of the new entries, like the SE63 or Alpine A424. But the other manufacturers such as Porsche and Ferrari, hopefully will have very good BOP. But we'll see how that works. Albert asks in the comments, Aston Martin program with the V12. I think they're asking, does it have a hybrid component? No, I believe it does not have a hybrid.
No, I don't believe so. No, Aston Martin will not. They will have that V12 instead. Which is going to be interesting. I mean, the car is designed by Adrian Newey, and we know how annoyingly fast he could be. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what they've done. I mean, I love the new Aston Martin, and it's going to be exciting to see what it is. And I just saw, no, I'm not drinking Jaeger. I'm just drinking water.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to say I agree with the Aston Martin thoughts. That project is awesome, you know. It does look like you are. Sorry. But the Valkyrie the Valkyrie,
it's just water.
Yes, it does look like it from afar, but yeah, it is just water, as David mentioned. Yeah, anyway, back to topic of the Valkyrie LMH. What an awesome project that is. Aston Martin back in prototype endurance racing. We haven't spoke a lot of it on live streams. I haven't spoke a lot about it since the actual video I did recovering the entire project back, what was it, October, I think it was. But yeah, the Aston Martin Valkyrie project. Super cool to see it back. V12, first time that it's breaking a lot of records. It means that the first hypercar with a V12 engine, the first hypercar that is a British manufacturer in racing. Van Wall's Austrian, in case you all were wondering why that's different. The register is an Austrian brand. And the first LMH car to race in IMSA as well. That's another thing that's really big for Aston Martin's project, is that they are heading into IMSA, confirming that Le Mans hypercars can race in GTP if the manufacturer wants to. And that's a subject as well we can talk all about, but I won't get into that because it's a long subject of the 2,500 road car rule, and if manufacturers want to race. I even did a full video on it a while back, and it was quite long. So anyway,
and if you're interested in privateering cars like the Valkyrie is, like Klinkenhaus have just launched their road car version, and it's looking nice. It's a bit different, so maybe there's a bit excitement there for them to join IMSA instead of WEC. We could maybe see it if they produce enough cars, but let's see.
Let's see, indeed. Or if IMSA removes the 2,500 road car rule, which I doubt they will, but I don't know. And a lot of people are also confused about, I've seen a few people asking questions, not necessarily in this chat, but in previous chats, about who can actually join Hypercar, or join GTP, sorry. And if Alpine can join, because they were rumored to join IMSA. I'm pretty sure from the research I've done and the people I've talked to, Alpine technically can race in IMSA because they produce enough road cars worldwide. Same goes for Peugeot, who only sell cars in France. But the question is, do they want to race in IMSA? Because the thing is that manufacturers like Peugeot and Alpine, they don't really sell cars yet. Alpine is going to be selling electric cars, from what I've heard, in 2027 and beyond in the US. Which is interesting because that could mean they could bring over a project as the A424. I don't think it will be as soon as 2025, maybe 2026. I've heard MSR could be involved. That's a rumor going around, although it's not really officially confirmed by them, not really officially confirmed by any major sources such as motorsport.com or autosport.com. But yeah, Alpine could join in the future. We'll see.
I'm just gonna say hi to Milo or Kasper for første deling. Nice to see you getting in here, like we talked about. So it's just some friends, but I'm happy to see them.
Yeah, there's a lot of people joining our comment section here. 70 viewers at the moment, which is great to see. It's been consistently like that for the last couple of about 30 or so minutes, because we had about 100. I think we peaked at around 120 viewers, which was awesome for a time. So that's great to see. But I think we're reaching about the end of our stream, unfortunately. I think we could talk for hours and hours and hours, but
yeah,
eventually we do need to conclude our stream here and get back onto other stuff. But David, do you have any final thoughts before we kind of conclude this?
No, I'm only really thankful for the support. So I hope you will continue to support and this will grow. Because so far it's amazing to see how many people join in and watch two complete nerds in endurance racing talking about it for hours. So I'm so thankful. And just very quickly, yes, I'm from Denmark, George. Yes.
Yeah, David, it's been a pleasure to have you on here, and you'll be seeing David on here more often. He'll be joining us next week for the Qatar prologue stream. We're going to be doing a report on that, targeting around an hour or so, exactly the same time as this one. So that's 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, West Coast US time.
Yes.
And I can convert the time zones for everybody, but that would take almost 30 minutes or so. That would take a long time to convert everything. But anyway, that's what that is.
Same time, same place.
Exactly.
Yeah,
yes.
week.
That's exactly what it is. So yeah, you'll be seeing David on here a lot more. And I think that this stream has really broken ground for what could be a really, really strong just live stream process that we have here on the Formula Jonah YouTube channel. We're branching into new territories, live stream along with videos. And speaking of videos, while I'm on the topic, tomorrow we're coming out with another video. It's the WEC WEC season preview. So full season breakdown before the season gets underway. This week, I'm fully putting in my attention into videos because I'm trying to get out. We're almost going to be doing videos daily videos almost. That's how many we're going to get here. So I got a lot of stuff planned for the upcoming Qatar event coming up, and WEC season coming up as well. And yeah, so that's that. Again, thank you so much, everybody who's joined us so far in this race, or this live stream here. I'm losing my words. We've had so many people come in, huge support throughout the entire live stream, and great to see so many people join our stream here. And also, a few people were asking in the comments below as well, don't forget to join the Discord server as well. We have a Discord server. It's called the Endurance Center. Has all the news, all that sort of thing. Also an Instagram for that. It's a connection to the FJ YouTube channel as well. Definitely join that. Link in the description down below for this live stream and every single video you encounter. And real quickly, Paul asked, when will the next stream be? Yeah, it will be next week, Wednesday. Let me see exactly. I'm going to look at my phone to see exactly the date. Wednesday, the 28th of February. That's the next stream. It will be exactly the same time. Qatar report for the WEC. Then after that, we're doing the race recap live stream on the 6th of March, exactly the same time as this one and the one next. So we have three more streams coming up, or sorry, including this one, we have three more. So
yes,
2 more streams coming up. But yeah, again, thank you so much for everybody joining. David, thank you so much for being a part of this, and can't wait to be continuing this journey on as we head into this new era.
Yes, I'm excited as well. But thank you so much, everybody, and I'll see you next time.
Yep, we'll see you all next time. Thank you again. Have a great rest of your day, and yeah, peace out.